Hey, welcome to The Explainer. So, you know how we've all been taught that oil is a fossil fuel, that it's this finite thing we're eventually going to run out of? But what if that whole idea, that core assumption, is just wrong? Today, we're digging into a source that asks that very question.
And that right there, that's the big question we're diving into today. And look, this isn't just some dusty geology debate. The answer could literally rewrite the last 100 years of global politics and finance. No big deal, right?
I mean, think about it. What we're really getting at here is the very foundation of our modern world. We're talking about the thing that drives wars, that props up entire economies, trillions and trillions of dollars in global wealth. And it all comes down to one simple question: where does oil actually come from?
Okay, so to really get our heads around the argument in our source material, we've got to look at the two competing stories for where oil comes from. One of them, you're going to know. The other? Well, maybe not so much.
All right, so this is the one we all learned in school, right? The fossil fuel story. The idea is that oil is the result of this super specific, incredibly complex chain of events that happened millions of years ago. It basically makes oil this kind of limited geological lottery ticket from our planet's deep past.
But then, our source material throws a huge curveball with this other narrative, the abiotic theory. And this one suggests oil isn't a relic at all. It's not old. In fact, it's an ongoing product of our planet's own powerful internal engine, a resource that's constantly being cooked up deep, deep within the Earth.
So the source asks us to put on our Occam's razor hats here. The principle that the simplest explanation is usually the right one. On one side, you have this incredibly complex, accidental history. And on the other, a pretty straightforward chemical process, driven by the exact same forces that give us things like volcanoes. Which one sounds simpler to you?
Okay, so that begs the question, right? If there's a simpler theory out there, why isn't it mainstream? Why aren't we all talking about it? Well, the source points to a really powerful motive: the insane financial incentive of scarcity.
And when we say the financial stakes are high, we're talking almost unimaginably huge. Trillions upon trillions of dollars in investments, in national budgets, in foreign policy. It all rests on this one single idea, that oil is scarce, and one day it's going to run out.
So here's the kicker, the crucial point the source is making. You have this massive global structure, economic, political, you name it, that directly benefits from the idea that oil is scarce. Company valuations, entire markets, even military spending, it's all built on this one premise. If you prove that wrong, the whole system gets threatened.
This is where it gets really interesting. The source then digs into this fascinating claim that maybe the evidence for this different reality isn't buried in some secret lab. Maybe it's hidden in plain sight, right inside our own patent system.
And this quote really nails the core of the argument. The idea that these giant established companies might actually patent some revolutionary tech, not to build it, but to legally stop anyone else from building it. Basically, to bury the innovation for good.
And this is the strategy our source calls the patent graveyard. It's a simple, four-step process. A breakthrough pops up that threatens a multi-trillion-dollar industry. So an established company swoops in, patents it, and then does nothing. They just sit on it. The tech is legally locked down, it effectively disappears, and the status quo is safe.
All right, so this brings us to the final and honestly maybe the most profound part of this whole argument. What if? What if the abiotic theory were proven true tomorrow? How would our world, our civilization actually be different?
Right now, our world, as the source lays it out, is all about competition. The whole logic of our economy is built on controlling things that are limited, on accumulating capital. Nations, corporations, they gain power based on who owns these scarce assets.
But imagine a world of true energy abundance. This analysis suggests our entire value system could just flip on its head. What if the main goal was no longer about hoarding wealth, but about what you contribute, about expanding knowledge, and actually solving humanity's biggest problems?
I mean, the implications here are just staggering. They'd be world-changing. Think about it. Scientific research suddenly free to chase the truth, not just the funding. Geopolitical maps completely redrawn, no longer based on who's sitting on all the oil. We'd have to rethink the entire purpose of our biggest industries from the ground up.
So we end up right back where we started, with a big question. The source leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. It reframes scarcity, not as some law of nature, but as a potential economic and political choice. A construct. It's a question that really challenges us to wonder. What kind of world could we build
if the answer was different?